everyone. Thanks for being here today with us. Okay, I'm Jinchi, and then I have together with me here today is this evening is Charles, Vikram, and Vinod, and we welcome you to Troublemakers Assembly for September, organized by the Design School at Taylor's University. This is our third e-conference of this year's Troublemakers Assembly series. To all Taylor staff, there are two registrations that you must do. Two registrations, yeah. So one is in HRSS, if you have not already done so. And the other one is registration for your attendance here. Okay, please look out for the Google link, all right? And then for that, we will provide in between the sessions. So make sure, please, that you fill that up. For other university staff and students whose institutions require proof of attendance, you may write to us. Troublemakers Assembly is a gathering to honor and learn from the inspirational work done by an array of engaging personalities who have in their own unique ways made a mark in society through creative problem solving. So this series of e-conferences aim at creating audience immersion through an active and meaningful content with the end objective of inspiring the audience to become their very own change makers. There is a survey that we have prepared for you so we can get your suggestions for future improvement. The survey link will be provided in the feed after the talk. So please do help us out and fill out the survey, okay? And do not forget to like and share our page and our live feed. Now, let me formally introduce our speaker for this month, Ms. Nasreen Ma, a certified brain health coach with a mission to share the unavoidable truth that may be causing the neglect of our mental and physical well-being. The title of her presentation this evening is How Not to Kill Your Brain. Before I pass the session over to the speaker, I encourage everyone to post at least one question for Nasreen in our live feed during or towards the end of her presentation, as we would love to hear from each of you. Thank you. Now let us welcome Ms. Nasreen Ma.
Hi. So, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, because I can't see myself on Facebook yet, right? Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Nasreen. I'm certified brain health coach. Thank you, and I'm very honored to be here tonight with you. I understand that this is catered to the students who are doing design. So before I go on any further, let me tell you first the simple things we need to know how to take care of our brains, okay? And the most natural way and the simplest way and the easiest way to understand this is literally just three things: eating right, sleeping well, and exercising enough. Sounds simple, right? Well, not so if you look at it from my point of view. Let's talk about from the life of a student, a design student. Personally, I've been a design student myself. And let me just say today, I'd like to teach you guys how not to kill your brain. You know, even if it sounds so simple, it's so easy to kill your brain. It's so simple to take care of it. It's actually so easy to kill it. Now, why do I say that? I mean, as I said, you know, design has never left me. I've always been trained as a designer for a good 3-4 years. Although I never embarked on it, I had the training. I went through the gruesome college life where you had to finish your assignments on time, or basically you didn't sleep enough to finish your assignments. I went through all that. And I understand how it is like where you push yourself like crazy and you want to do the best you can. You want to hit the target. You want to win the prize because there's always somehow there's always a competition there, and you just want to push yourself. But when you have all that pressure, and as a design student, having been in a college life, reality is you're surrounded by a little bit unhealthy habits, a little bit more of unhealthy habits. Somehow I see this more in design schools than in other schools. Like if you're doing law or business, I'm sure you have your cluster of students who are doing what design students do. My experience is having a group of smokers just around the corner, and everybody's like de-stressing and smoking out. Some smoke not just cigarettes, some start drinking in the afternoon, some live on coffee, some live on ice Milo, and all these things. Now, remember what I said, eat well. Do you think it's eating well? Do you think it's fueling your body with good stuff? It is not. And then on top of that, you sleep late because somehow students tend to party a little bit more. So we end up partying and we don't sleep enough. And then you realize, oh, damn it, my assignment is due in 2 days. And then you end up not sleeping at all. And then you down yourself with coffee to stay awake to finish that assignment. And unfortunately, as a design student, somehow we psych ourselves to say, I can't work during the day. I can work only during the night. And there goes your sleep. So what did I say? Eating right, sleep well, you just blew it, right? And then because we don't sleep well, we don't eat well, end up during the day, what happens? We almost sleep through the day and we end up being late for class. When you don't have that time to exercise, there goes your brain, bye-bye. But we don't realize the harm that we do to our brains. We really don't. As design students, it's really, really hard to realize that because we have so many brain cells and we take our brains for granted because we don't see our brains. We really don't see our brains to understand the impact that we have done to our brains as a student. And the onset of Alzheimer's doesn't happen only when you're 60s. You start accumulating bad brain habits when you are starting college. In fact, sometimes now it's early in school. So basically, being a design student, we are at very high risk of killing our brains. And what I would like to share with you is later in the talk, I would like to share some advice on how you can help yourself. But right now, there are a few things that I would like to also bring out to design students to understand that, when we think that we're actually okay, we don't have any problems. I'm okay, I can finish my work, I can still read, I can still design, yes, you can. But you're on a very fake drive, you're being driven by a different push that is not quite healthy. Because somehow, as you work in the night and you push yourself on coffee, you think you're doing fine, but you're actually not. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I have, like 2 weeks of not sleeping, literally on 2-3 hours a night, and finishing a whole tub of instant coffee just to stay awake to finish your work. I almost thought I was going to die at the end of the 2 weeks. So I don't know if you guys have experienced that. If you guys have experienced that, it just shows that you have pushed your brain to a particular limit that it can't take anymore. And your brain is not the only organ that runs your body. Don't forget, you have other things in your body. You have your heart, you have your lungs, you have your intestines, and everything that needs to work together to get things going for your brain. So when things like that happen, then we become a little bit more agitated with ourselves sometimes. And then because your brain is already starting to go wonky because you haven't been eating right, you haven't been sleeping well, you haven't been exercising, then you start to see flaws. You see a lot of flaws in yourself. You see a lot of flaws in the design work that you have created. And sometimes because somehow designers have this tendency to be perfect, and you want to do the best you can. You want to win that competition. You want to be better than your peers. You just want to get that perfect design. You end up criticizing yourself a lot more, or worse yet, if you get criticized by others, it's just as hard to take, So that criticism, that negativity, it can be productive to some extent, it can be constructive, but there are times, and most often times, what I have seen and experienced, not just myself as a designer, but my peers, it was a very unhealthy way of going through your development as a student, and development in terms of progress development, your design development. It almost makes you go downwards in terms of going into depression. Some people can be so depressed, and then they end up being in a cycle that keeps them eating unhealthily, sleeping badly, and not exercising. Do you see how this whole vicious cycle is continuously there in our design student life? It is very, very clear that if we don't take care of ourselves, your brain is not going to be, if you don't take care of your brain, your performance is not going to be the best as well. So these are some of the things that, unfortunately, as a design student, if we don't realize it, we're going to just pull ourselves deeper and deeper into a hole. And that's really hard. That's a tough thing if the people around you are also in that same hole and no one is there to pull you out. Okay. And there's another thing that I used a metaphor of the candle, burning. If the candle, if everybody's got life, so take your life as the candle, and the candle will just keep burning. It'll just burn gently. If you let it burn gently, slowly, the candle lasts a long time. Okay, it lasts long and nice, and it burns nicely, But if you keep making it burn harder and faster and all that, the wick goes in, and it's exactly the same way on how you're using your brain and your body. When you push your brain and body over the limit that that it can take, and yet you're not giving the brain what it needs to stay healthy and support you in what you do every day or every night, you're just gonna burn your life away, and that is very sad, because you only have that one life. And when you burn it away, there's no way to build it back. It's really, really hard. Okay? And the biggest reason why we end up doing things like this to ourselves is because we can't see our brains. And so we don't know how to take care of it. So, for example, our body can see, you've put on weight, you can feel that you've put on weight. If you've lost weight, you can see it. It's very visual. But the brain is hidden, and it's very ironic because it's in you, but you can't see it. And when you can't see it, that's where you take things for granted. Even though we have tons and millions of brain cells, but we don't realize the impact and the damage that has already been done. So what I would like to teach you now or share with you actually, is how you can take care of your brain. But first, you really need to know how it looks like. Okay? So if you can see the brain as how it's shown to you right now, this particular scan is done from the SPECT scan. And the SPECT scan scans the blood flow and the activity in the brain. And I need to reference these pictures from the Amen clinics, where I got my brain health certification course done. And this particular Dr. Amen, is a very well-known psychiatrist in the States. So he's done tens of thousands of these brain scans. Okay, so when you can see your brain, in this particular picture, it is actually a very healthy brain. And you can see the top left view is actually the bottom view looking up. And then the two side views are the ones where there's the cerebellum at the bottom. And then the front would be the higher part. And then the bottom right corner would be the view from the top. So if you look at it, this is all about good blood flow and good activity in the brain. Hence, the scan can generate a beautiful looking brain or a more identifiable brain. But if we don't take care of it, if we don't take care of our brains, and we don't eat well, we don't sleep well, we don't exercise, what you're going to see eventually when you hit your 60s and you get, hopefully you don't, but if you get Alzheimer's disease, this is how your brain's going to look like. It's going to have plenty of holes, and that's where it's too late. And this image is a very scary image that hopefully it will give you some idea on how much damage we can actually do to our brains. So when you see the comparison between a healthy brain and a bad brain, it shows very clearly that if you have a good brain, you would have good function in your everyday life. You can think clearly, you can speak well, you can be considerate, you can be kind, and you're able to hold your impulses, and you live a better life. But if your brain is unhealthy with all these holes because you don't have enough blood flow due to your lack of nutrition, due to your lack of movements, and due to your lack of sleep, then you're starting to create these holes from now. And it's no joke, It's really, really no joke. So it's a wake-up call now for all of you, anyone out there who's connecting to these pictures, because at least every other one of us would have connected with somebody who have Alzheimer's or who is a little bit more dysfunctional. So if you see somebody who is easily angry or who criticize themselves a lot more, or you have a lecturer who is really unreasonable, or you have a student who just doesn't know how to push themselves forward, if you have a student who they're always procrastinating and they're always doing last minute work, these are signs of people who already have challenges in their brain. And if you can identify in yourself, I want to just let you know that don't worry, it's never too late to make a change. Okay? So now, having said the three things, eat well, sleep well, and exercise, it sounds so simple, like I said, but how many of us actually do it? How many of us are actually conscious of what we're doing or what we're eating? Because as a student, what do? You always eat out. We very often eat out. You don't pack a Tupperware anymore. We don't. It's so much easier to eat out, and you never know what's in the food outside. And whenever we eat out in our Malaysian mega menu diet, there's a lack of vegetables, and even if there is some vegetables, it's not enough. So understanding these points, okay, now hopefully you're stirred to get out of your comfort zone from what you're used to on a regular daily basis to eat at the mama or to eat at Subway or whatever. It's you need to make more effort now. And if you're not getting enough sleep, you want to think about it, because your organs start to heal itself from 11 o'clock onwards until 3 o'clock in the morning. If you don't give your body that time to lie down and rest and heal itself and flush out the toxins from the brain and all that, that happens when you sleep. And when you sleep at the right time, it doesn't mean that if you sleep during the day, you're getting the right amount of sleep. You're getting the quality sleep that you need. You need to sleep at the right time for the body to do its work. But if you don't, and then you end up not performing well, and then you end up being negative about yourself, and very often these kind of people are the ones who would blame everyone else except for themselves. So when people are in this situation already, this person is having a compromised brain. The brain has been hijacked. And that's where, if you're aware of this whole situation of knowing this need to know how to take care of your brain, you would be able to watch out for your peers. You would be able to watch out for the people around you that you love, and understand that you need to look into three things: movement, eating, and sleeping. Of course, there are many other issues. There's hormonal issues, there are medical issues. You have different reasons also that contribute to a bad brain. But these are the key things. So imagine if you eat well, a lot of your diseases can actually be treated. If you sleep well, your body gets to heal itself. You know, if you exercise, your body is generating good chemicals and good neurotransmitters together with your food and everything. You're working your brain, because the brain needs to move to stimulate itself and to work for you. So when you understand this now, being a student, being a design student, or being even a lecturer, or anyone out there, you can now make it that conscious shift to living a better and healthier lifestyle. Okay, so talking about movement, I'll just bring out this one point where our cerebellum at the back of the head is where the part where it's protruding out. That part contains 50-80% of our neurons. Okay, and that part, cerebellum, is all about our movement, and it is connected to our behavior. So when you stimulate the cerebellum through movement, you will feel a lot happier. And from there, that stimulation from the cerebellum, it hits directly to your prefrontal lobe, which is the front here. And that's all your executive function. So if you want to be able to read well and study well and complete your work well and plan and organize better and all that, you got to move. You got to keep moving to keep that going. Just imagine it's a wheel. So if you don't work, imagine this part is 50% to 80% of your neurons. If we don't move enough, that means half of your brain is not working. You're not stimulating it enough. So this is something that we need to really understand, that movement is key. That's why I actually suggested to some people that when you have a webinar, don't just sit and do a webinar. Move around, you know. I'm not moving now because I had a whole afternoon of gardening and I was moving a lot, you know, to the point I almost forgot the talk tonight. So movement is very important. So as much as you need to sit there, and now everything is in the computer, you sit there and you do your design and you're waiting for it to render and you're doing, you know, it all that sitting. And, you know, we can joke that, oh, but my hands are moving. When you're playing games, my fingers are moving. It's really no joke. It's not a good joke. It's a bad joke. You got to get up and move. Get up, go outside, look at the green trees, because greens are good for you. The green stuff, they're good for your eyes. You got to rest your eyes, help yourself to refresh your brain. Drink water. Don't just drink coffee. Don't drink alcohol. Alcohol kills your brain. Don't smoke. Smoking is toxic. Toxins hit your brain and it kills your brain cells. So these are some things that you need to understand. And I'm not saying that everybody is going to be angels, I'm not saying that people who smoke are not angels. Okay, they are very nice people who smoke, but it's just that understanding that lifestyle changes can help your brain be in a better position.
Absolutely. I think that is so true, Nasreen. All these points, I think they're very, very applicable. I think relatable to our students as well, you know. And I think those are the key three things that you've brought up. Even actually, one of the students have put that down as a note in a feed. So someone has actually been listening very, very intently. So we already have questions from the floor. Shall I read the question to you?
Yeah, sure.
This is by, yes, thank you so much. Miss Irene Ong. So her first question, actually, Irene has two questions. If we don't use our brains enough, will our brains have holes? I think she's quite terrified with the pictures that you showed.
Well,
and bear in mind, we have quite a list of questions here, so you've got to answer them all. So you're going to be quick with each question.
Right. Just remember this. It's the same as your muscles. You don't lose it, you lose it. Okay? Same as your brain. So keep using the brain. Learn how to do something new every day. You know what I've started to do? I always brush my teeth with my right hand. Now I brush my teeth with my left hand. And you know, you can practice writing with your left hand. You can just keep shifting things around. Always try to drive a different route to school, or try to drive, you know, just do things differently. Walk down the stairs backwards, you know, walk to the kitchen backwards. Try to cut away from routine. Yeah, learn something new every day.
In that sense, are we now creating trouble for our brain? Would you say so?
By
kind of
doing
like
something
break
different,
away
or
from
what
the
the
norm.
current lifestyle?
Yes, correct. Like, making trouble for our brains.
Yeah, the current lifestyle is definitely creating trouble for our brains. But if you make that shift, you're also causing a little bit of trouble in the brain, because it's like, hey, hang on, what's happening? But it's a good trouble.
Yes, yes, it's a good kind of trouble. So another question now from Irene. What about stress? Does it make holes in our brains?
Yes, if you have
The stress.
unaddressed stress, like if you do not know how to manage your stress, already that is one sign of you having a challenged brain. Okay, so being able to manage your stress and be chilled when things don't go as well as you plan, it will, it won't cause you too much holes. It depends. Okay, so this is a very technical thing which I can't explain to you right now. But if stress, yes, if it's severe, it will be hard on you. And it's not just on your brain, but in your organs as well.
Oh my God. Okay. So, okay, I'm a bit disturbed now. All right. Okay. While I'm trying to absorb all that, okay, and then so are the audience. I think. Is the would Vino now have some questions for Nasreen? Because we have other questions coming in. So I think Vino have some interesting questions for you.
Okay. Hi, Nasreen. Thank you for the gist of the talk that you had there. I'm a little disturbed because I'm thinking about my students and I'm thinking how many brain cells I killed, or how much damage I've caused. Now, you see, let me ask this question. You got famous artists like Frida Kahlo and Jason Pollock and Vincent van Gogh. They all struggle with some form of mental health issues, right? And so, isn't it true that with great pain comes great art? There needs to be some amount of pain, isn't it?
I think, well, it's very subjective. So to me, there are brilliant, brilliant people out there, extremely amazing skills that they have, but they have some flaw in other areas. And I think this is something that no one can ever run away from. Like every one person of us would have a flaw, a few flaws for that matter. No one is perfect. So there are some people who get driven a lot more. Like they're so much more sensitive to certain things. They're so much more able to get more details. They're so even sometimes it's because of the way they are, they've put themselves in a cocoon. For example, most of these artists are painting with oil paint and acrylic or whatever that has fumes. So fumes are actually toxic. So when you're stuck in a room with fumes, paint fumes, toxic fumes, you're actually killing your brain cells, unfortunately. So they may be stuck in a very vicious cycle in their own life, where they don't know how to express their pain, and it comes out in art.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Speaking about details, good designers are detail orientated, right? They fuss over it. However, in doing so, they can develop an obsession to detail. And this makes them better designers, but conversely, if I understand what you're saying, it could also develop in them an obsessive compulsive disorder. And so, how can they thread that needle, so to speak? I mean, how can they develop a healthier sense for detail without falling into that unhealthy obsession to detail?
I think falling into that obsession into detail doesn't just happen. It happens with your lifestyle as well, and it happens with maybe what you're born with. Some people, unfortunately, are born with a weaker ability to manage themselves, and well, that's not true. Actually, it's how they were brought up and their lifestyle that contributes to their brain health. So when a person is OCD, they actually have a very active brain, and when you see that type of brain, instead of laughing at them, sometimes we actually laugh at our friends who are OCD, right? But it's actually a brain function, and you can actually help these people. So the thing is, you don't just fall into it. you become like that if you don't take care of your brain. So whatever you do is not just, this doesn't fall into just a designer's life. And it's not just it's not just about detailing. It's about how you can manage yourself and stop yourself from being too critical of yourself. And that ability is not easy to have sometimes if your brain is not there to support you. So then think about it. If you are already very challenged on your own and the people around you don't understand that, and they put even more pressure on you, you're going to just be in a big, huge wave over and over and again. And, you don't know where to come up to breathe. So this is where the moment you realize that you're being too critical of yourself, you need to stop and tell yourself, hang on a minute, why am I being so negative about myself or critical about myself? Yes, you want to have that perfection. You want to have that end goal, that precision that you want to reach. But sometimes, like I said, the flaw is only you see the flaws that you see. Sometimes other people don't see it, and that's where we need to know where to draw the line to stop ourselves from being too negative on ourselves and too critical on ourselves. It's always good to have a healthier conversation with other people and have constructive criticism, and then be able to digest it. Some people, those who can't really digest criticism, they also have a challenge brain.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We have a flood of questions coming in from the floor. I'm tempted to ask this next question, but you know what? I'm just gonna pass the floor to Jinchi. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, having said that, right, because of the number of questions and we have limited time, remember what we did in the last round? If we can't answer all the questions, we will still address and we will still send to Nasreen, and then we will post this up post-event, right?
Yeah.
So I think people, please keep asking questions. This is great. Okay, so we have one more question from Irene. What is the right time to sleep?
You mean the better time to sleep? It's before 11 at night, not in the morning. At night.
Okay. All right.
Can I follow that up with a quick question on the same point? So if you sleep, let's say at 10 o'clock or before 11, right? So 10 o'clock. So how much time is necessary for the entire system to work itself in order to cleanse itself? So how much time is required for that brain? Because I can't sleep too long.
Oh, well, I think 3-4 hours would be good enough. But you need more sleep than that. Mm-hmm. It's the intensity of the cleansing and the reorganizing of your system during the night. It starts from after 11 o'clock until about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, but there's adjustments as well after that. So you really need at least 7-8 hours of sleep. I know it's really hard to get that in this time, in this life, but we got to try.
Okay. Back to you, Gigi.
Right. Okay, thank you, Vinod. Now, this is a very interesting question from Karim, Abdul Karim, which is, how can we free our brain from thinking?
Meditate. You can try meditation, you can try praying, you can try songs or classical, alpha wave music without words. Anything that keeps you calm. You can try different things. You can go into nature. Going into nature would really, really be good. The thing is, the harder you try not to think about things, the harder it is not to think about it. So what you need to do is just chill and relax. You can do it on your own. You can find somebody who you can trust to keep quiet and be together and just zen out. That'll be good too. Yeah. And having it in nature is actually really nice. Just make sure you don't find a place where there are plenty of ants to crawl on you. Just do the right thing. Like if you're not thinking that it's something is not right.
Yes, you need to have some logic as well, definitely. Yeah, I think that automatically answers one question, the other question by Janani, because she asked something that's related to meditation, which is, how does meditation or mindfulness help us handle stress? I suppose that was answered. If you want to add on, it would be great. I mean, that could do too. So does it actually work? And
Yeah.
What's the best way to practice this if it's effective? That's from Janani.
Okay, there's no best way to do it. The best way is the best way for you, because there's so many different ways of doing it. Everyone is different. There's no one size fits all. Even food, there's no one size fits all for everyone. Someone can be allergic to something and some don't. So even meditation, there's different ways of meditation. There's different things you can chant for meditation. Sometimes you don't want to chant, you just want to listen to music. You just want to lie still and don't do anything, So it's really what is best for you. And you can do a trial and error on your own to find the best way for you, the one that makes you feel the best.
Janani, you heard that?
All right, so
Okay,
jump
I
in,
think
like,
that, yep.
jump in there and
Yes.
ask my question.
Okay. Yes, please do. I have some more coming in.
Okay. Hi,
All right, you first.
Nasreen, big question, yeah? I mean, a small question, sorry. So people are of different types, correct? And so some people are generally optimistic, positive, etc., and then some people are not. So is negativity and pessimism a unnatural state of mind, or is it a natural state of mind that should be overcome, or shouldn't it be overcome? Because some people just can't be positive. I mean, they just made they're just like pessimistic, skeptical, or cynical. I don't know.
Yeah, it is a brain function. But there are some people who are the there's one term, happy-go-lucky type. Yeah, the ones who don't quite care much about stuff, and they just live their life like, there's no anxiety in their life. They just chill, and those people actually usually die younger. According to studies. So even if you're in all the positive, good mood and all that, doesn't mean it's all great, because very often those are the people who don't think more than what they should. And then there's no further planning. There's no, it's different. It doesn't mean that when you're all happy and good, you have a good brain. And it doesn't mean that if you're negative, you have a bad brain, because sometimes some people are a little bit more negative because they think a little bit more. They're more aware. They're more cautious of things. Sometimes they can be, if you think about it, I mean, I'm a parent. So but prior to being a parent, I didn't think very much about safety and all that, because I thought, I've got my black belt and everything, and I feel good and all that. I'm okay. I'm tough. I'm good. But the moment I became a parent, I just felt that vulnerability that people would come after the baby, or, oh my God, I have to drive more carefully now because there's a baby in the car, and safety and protection. So suddenly you're more aware of the situation, and it's no longer about you, it's about someone else. So it's the same you as a person. If you know how to, if a person is a little bit more uptight, sometimes we have to understand the history behind it, behind the person. So the whole thing, this whole talk about brain health and how to take care of it is a very subjective matter, because like I said, again, one size doesn't fit all. And everybody has a different environment when they had a different environment growing up, and they're still living a different environment right now. So everybody is eating something different, and you have a different make of your bodies. I mean, we all have the same organs, but maybe because when you were in the womb, your mom was not as healthy, so you came out not as healthy because of that. And so you don't blame yourself. You can't quite blame yourself for whatever negative stuff that you're going through or that you bring along with you in this life. So having that, all positivity and being a pessimist and all that, yes, it is a brain function. You can deal with it, but you got to know how you actually got there in the first place. So if getting there is not so bad, like if you didn't go through some form of trauma to get you to that, I'm surviving life and not living life state of situation, then it's really. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I think I do, and I think it stems maybe pessimism. I am a pessimistic person. In fact, that drives me to, for example, when I was doing my degree, for example, in the area that I wanted to. What drove me was the fear of failure, right? So this irrespective of the results that I get, I might get straight A's, but I'll still fear. I mean, the fear of failure is ever present, right? And that just keeps driving me. I mean, so it's a strange thing. I mean, like that actually takes me on to the next question, which is actually part of this, what I just said. Would you agree that failure in life is an important component in the development of the brain?
Yes, but it's how you deal with it and how you were taught to deal with it. So, for example, in your case where you're so afraid to fail, did your parents instill that in you? Or was it something that you self-imposed upon yourself?
Could be a bit of both.
Yeah, okay. So if parents had done that, had instilled in you this, you shouldn't fail. How could you? I gave you everything and you're supposed to be studying well and all that. Yeah. So when you get that environment as a child growing up, that fear because of parents not being happy with the results, then is really not your fault. Then end up, you get psyched up to think that, you are not supposed to fail. You cannot fail. And then that's where you then become really hard on yourself. And very sadly, some people get stuck in that situation so much that they do the same thing to their kids, no matter how much they hated it from their parents. So you see, this is where you have to really understand what you're feeling and where it comes from. So identifying this is a very important step to doing the right thing for your brain.
Right. I mean, I think you just hit the nail on the head there.
You're doing it to your kids too?
Unfortunately.
So the thing is, failure is important for us to learn, but how you deal with that failure, like how a parent deals with it, is very important, and I'm a very good example of that I didn't do very well in school, but my parents never harped on me. They never labeled me, as lazy or, stupid, nothing. It's okay. Just do your best, keep doing your best. And we have to fail to get somewhere anyway, somehow. You learn from your mistake. So basically that is how it's being dealt with for me. And so I see failure as, it's okay, let's keep going. Oh, damn, it didn't work out. Okay.
Yeah.
Post-mortem, what happened? And then you don't do the same mistake again,
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's good advice. That being said, now I'm just going to segue back to Jinchi because again, there's more questions from the floor. Jinchi, it's your floor.
Okay, thanks, Vinod. Well, our certified brain coach had been explaining very well to us, what all these, the questions that you've asked, Vinod. So I think one very apt question from Veronica is that, when does one usually engage a brain health coach?
Anytime. You don't want to engage a person only when you're sick or when you're not well, when you find that you're in a very deep hole. You can already take precautionary measures. So it's always better to take precautionary measures than to rehabilitate after.
Okay, thank you very much. I think, that would kind of be something like a prevention is better than cure kind of thing.
Definitely, yeah.
And also to find out the state of our brain, it does no harm to do so.
Yeah.
I do have one more question, actually two more questions. So I'll read this one first from Hamam. He is our student. So his question is, can you please explain briefly brain desensitization? For example, not enjoying food or new experiences.
Not enjoying food. So I don't quite get that question. Can you repeat that again?
Right. Can you please explain briefly brain desensitization? I think he wants that explanation about that term, brain desensitization. Example he gave is not enjoying food, probably not being able to enjoy food or new experiences.
Okay. I don't know how to answer that. Desensitization of the brain.
I think when you see something too much and then you kind of, it's like playing games on, games on, the shooting games. what are you, first person
when
shooter
you
and you kill
already
all kinds
don't
of stuff?
feel anything, right? When
Yeah.
you're already not feeling it, how
Mm.
do you want to get out of that, or how do you want to feel again? What is
Uh,
it?
well,
So you're so
I think
used to something that is are you talk so if it's something that's not so good, so if it's something a little bit more negative and you are so used to it, and how do you get out of that, right? Is that what it is?
I'm not sure what's the nature of his question, but I would see it as I think he's trying to understand if why some people are not able to enjoy new experiences, why they're unable to enjoy it, um, or even enjoy.
Maybe why don't we do this? Why don't we let him come back with another question, or I mean, or with a reframed or reframed question? I'll just
Mhm.
ask a question that
Hamam.
we
Yes,
yeah
I think Hamam listening now, probably
yeah
he can rephrase his question maybe a little bit more clearer,
yeah. So
clearer. And yeah, Vinod, please go ahead. I only have one more question coming up, so
yeah
take it away, please.
okay. So this is a larger question, Nasreen, meaning it's like a bit of a broad question, open-ended question. So is there a difference between what we call the mind and what we call the brain? You know what I mean? Or when you refer to the brain, are you refer to the mind, and they are one and the same, right? I mean, is it like, or does the mind mean something bigger?
Okay, the brain usually is the physical brain, and the mind is what happens within the brain. I think that is my personal understanding, and from what I have understand that, yeah, from a lot of all the reading, what it's actually supposed to be the same thing. But I think if you want to look at it differently, I think it's brain health and mental health. If you want to talk about mind, mental, brain,
Yeah.
mental somehow it gives you a very negative connotation, but brain still seems okay, but somehow brain doesn't tend to give you that understanding of what mental ability is. It's a little bit tricky, all these terminologies, so to me, I like to use brain because I don't like to put people under that negative, it's a preconceived idea that it's a negative thing, mental health. So to me, it's like, when you say someone is mental, it's a negative thing, but it's actually not. If you think about it, it's just that mental ability. There's nothing negative about the word, but it's just that everybody's been using it so negatively that it comes across already as a negative thing. So the mind on its own is like, to me, my interpretation is the mind is as what goes through the activities that goes in the brain, and I think that's what I don't know if I'm correct to say that.
Okay. One last question on my side. Again, it's another large question, because I remember you saying something about higher ideals during the pre-conference interview, and so I'm just wondering how important are higher ideals in life in the context of brain health?
It is very important, actually. So for anyone who thinks that, oh, I have no hope, no chance of changing my brain anymore, I'm just gonna die young and all that. If you have a higher purpose that you can find for yourself in this life, like it's not just about yourself anymore. Sometimes it's about maybe your family members that you actually love and you want to be there for. And so if you have a higher purpose, like for example, if you're a parent, uh, you want to be there for as long as you can to see your children through school until they get married, until they get children, then you become grandparents. If you have a higher purpose like that, to say that, oh, I really want to live much longer to see all that happen, then that actually can drive you to make a shift easier in your life. Even if, so for example, if you're smoking, for example, if you're smoking and that smoking is not good, but you just can't seem to stop yourself, and you've tried a few times, but you couldn't stop, you help yourself, then you dive back into smoking again. But if you, so for you, it's like, if you think about smoking is bad, I should stop. Okay, it's not as easy to stop if you think about, if I smoke, it hurts my family too. And if it hurts my family, and now you know toxins go into your system, so you would be, I would be harming my kids if I smoke, right? So if you have a higher purpose, oh, I really want my children to live in a healthier environment, and the one way to do that is for me to quit smoking first and then try and shift the lifestyle, because if I'm head of the family, then I need to take care of my family, and so you have that higher purpose instead of just, I need to stop smoking. It guides you, it gives you a bigger push and a bigger drive to get to where you want to go, and then it gives your brain that bigger control to help you go through it. It's just like having spiritual belief, you know. So it's, if you understand that you're not the only one in control of yourself, there's a bigger energy out there, the bigger universe is out there, and you understand that, okay, I'm at the mercy of this thing, but if I don't attract the positivity, if I'm not positive enough, I can't attract back the positivity, then you can't quite do that. You need to know that you can actually do that. And so all these drivers that these are very intangible, you can't quite see it, but you can feel it, you can picture it, you can visualize it, and that is what can trick the brain into helping you to move forward faster and better. So it's just learning how to frame all these things in a very different way. For example, again, I'm using smoking because it just comes easy for me to think about it. Instead of saying, I want to stop smoking, you say, oh, I got to stop putting toxins in my brain. That actually gives you a different impact on what you just said. Like, if I keep smoking, I'm just stuffing toxins in my brain. It's you need to have a higher purpose to help you through this. And it's not easy to identify a higher purpose if a person is already stuck, if a person is already having a difficult time. So you need to, when a person comes to me and when I do my consultation, there's always a period of understanding, a series of questions to understand the history of that person and how he or she got to this space. And when you understand that, then you know how to talk to this person, how to address the issue, and it connects with that person. When it connects with that person emotionally, then this person usually tends to shift their mindset and accept the whole situation and want to do something about it. And that's where they can come up with the higher purpose in life. Yeah.
Okay. I think just for everyone out there who's watching and listening, we have a questionnaire that we put up just before the beginning of the session, and we'll put it up again towards the end. It helps you calculate your brain health, more or less, and we'll give you the answers to those questions towards the end. So I think we have just 2 more questions that from the floor. We'll get through them really quickly, and then we'll put up these questions, and then we'll get the answers, and we'll put it. We'll end the session with Nasreen having a look at the numbers that we get from the questions. Okay, so take it away, Jinchi.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder about the questionnaire, Vinod. Okay, so I have one question from Rizwan. Okay, his question is, how do we deal with difficult people or bracket leaders? So that's from Rizwan.
Somebody's got to talk to the leader.
Yeah, so
it's
Mr. Rizwan. Yeah.
But it's very interesting. So when we are more aware of this whole brain health thing, so even a lay person who just has this idea of knowing that, oh, he's got some angry streak in him, you already have an understanding that this person has a challenge with the anger management. And you know that when this person is challenged, so when you look at the person as a challenged person in the brain, you would have a little bit more empathy for them than hatred, than despise, than, you know what I'm trying to say? So it's like you tend to be a little bit more understanding towards people who are not as nice. So when you understand that, so as a follower, maybe, or as a team player with a leader there who is a little bit challenged or difficult, you would then be able to manage yourselves in his space so that you can be the person who is more in power in the end, because then you would know how to talk to the person who is a bit more challenged. So it's about being smart and dealing with leaders who are a bit more fiery or difficult. And when you just pick your battles, you know, don't bring your ego in, just put the ego on the side, because these people would have their egos shouting out at you. So you just take care of his ego and he'll be fine. And then you'll be like, oh, you know, I did the right thing. And you feel so much better about yourself. And then in the end, the difficulty coming from this person wouldn't affect you that much anymore. So that's the benefit of knowing all these things.
Yeah, and possibly keep reminding ourselves of, I don't want any holes in my brain. I don't want any holes in my brain. Maybe that would help too.
Well, you can keep saying that, but if you don't do anything about it, it's not going to work.
Keep
That's
moving.
true. Keep moving. Okay. Yeah, speaking of the holes in the brain, Zahari is, I think, really, really curious. Are those holes in the brain actual holes hollowed out?
It's lack of blood flow. So when you have lack of blood flow, there's lack of energy, there's lack of oxygen, you know, and it's the scan of the activity. So your whole brain is full of blood vessels and blood, you know, moving around. So if you're not getting enough blood flow, you're not getting enough activity in the brain. You won't get enough oxygen.
Okay.
So like that
Zahari,
portion, that portion dies out.
It eventually would die out if you don't use it. Yeah.
Okay. So
But the matter will still be there.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. The matter is still going to be there. So your actual brain is still there. It's just the activity, the scanning of that activity is not there.
Yeah. So the house is there, but no one's in the house. Okay.
Yes. Very good. Yes.
Okay. Anything else, Gigi?
I think yes. One actually, Zahari asked two questions. So last one, okay? How do we know if we have enough sleep, eating good food, and exercising enough?
You would know from your energy level. You would know from maybe your complexion. You would know maybe from your ease of going to the toilet. You would know from your mood swings. If you don't get enough sleep, this thing called ghrelin in your brain doesn't work very well, so it doesn't help you control what you eat. It makes you want to eat more, and you end up eating a lot more sugary stuff or simple carb stuff, so more bread, more pastas and all that. So when you know that you're functioning well, then hopefully you're on the better track. You need to drink a lot of water. Basically, your brain is 80% water, so you need to have a lot of water. You need to have good fatty food, like healthy fat food. So when you do when you start observing what you eat from today onwards, after today, you just notice the time you snack on a chocolate or you snack on a biscuit or you snack on a packet of junk food. Just notice how often you do that and look at the amount of veggies that you actually have on your plate. It should be about 70%, which I can assure you about 99% don't have that. So fruits and veggies, if you're taking the myriad of colors that's out there, you're doing pretty well. But at the same time, like I said, this is a very general thing. You know, there are people who can take certain things and can't take certain things. And it sometimes some food doesn't work for some people. So we need to really do a trial and error on ourselves to really know what foods work for us. So for me, I'm ADHD, but I know now what helps me. So I take 2 eggs in the morning to make sure I get my protein. I eat my almond bread that I make myself. So I do well, and I obviously take the supplements that would support me. So Sometimes because we don't eat well enough, you need to take the right supplements, and not just every multivitamin is going to work. So you need to take in vitamins, vitamin D, not just vitamin C. Vitamin D is the big thing. Go get some sun. The sun is going to help you absorb all the other good stuff in your body, as in vitamin D is going to help you absorb all the good stuff in your body. So when you're not sleeping well enough, if you sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning and get up at 5 o'clock, you're not sleeping well, you're not sleeping enough. If you sleep at 10 o'clock, but you get up 4 times at night to go to the toilet, you're not sleeping well. So, we have to stop lying to ourselves, basically, and start seeing things as it is right now, and be open-minded to what you see, because you can be disappointed with yourself. I sometimes get disappointed with myself because, like I can tell people what to do and all that, but sometimes on there are occasions where I don't get to fulfill it myself. Sometimes I don't get to exercise on a regular daily basis. So when I realize, I haven't been exercising for 2 days, so I have to, get going, and I have to get my kids to go and exercise together. So it's something that you need to be always conscious about. So if you do get off track, you would be able to remind yourself to get back on track. But this is something that is very difficult if you're doing on your own. So if you have a community, if you have a group of people who can work together, then, check in on one another. Hey, why are you eating so little? 2 strands of, long beans is not considered veggies, Then you can push the person. And if a person is constantly drinking coffee, that, hey, 1 cup a day is good enough. And, if you want to go out and have a drink once in a while, no moderation. So you have to understand all this to manage yourself.
That actually goes back to the questionnaire. So let's see how much each person has scored. Charles, would you like to flash the questions again?
Anyone to sleep?
Yes.
Just give people.
Yeah.
I think we'll just give people about 2 minutes to 3 minutes to answer the questions, and then we can total up the scores and flash the scores as well after that. And then Nasreen can take us through the numbers.
I think there's a question from the floor on how to do the questionnaire.
Okay, you just have to, if you look at the top part, there's never, rarely, occasionally, frequently, very frequently, and not applicable. So for every question that is there, you just have to put in the number that is most relevant to you. So for example, if you put yourself at risk of brain injuries, sometimes some people eat and drive at the same time, or talk on the phone, or text while they drive. It's actually very, very bad. And if you do that all the time, then you should put a number 4. But if you don't do that, then you put a 0. So it goes for all the questions.
Yeah, I think that's fairly straightforward. So I think once everyone's totaled their numbers, they can key in their total numbers in the comments section before we flash the answers.
This is an extraction from one of the main assessment from the Amen clinics. If you want to have more If you want to have a more in-depth look at yourself, then you have to go under a consultation, and I will give you more assessments to do.
Okay, people are writing their starting to type in their answers already.
Yeah, I think let them. There'll be still more like me who are a little slow in reading and understanding, so we might take a little longer to comprehend the.
Yeah.
Shall we flash the answers now?
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Sure. Bloody hell. I did it the second time and I'm still screwed.
Vinod, such a perfectionist. Stop it, you're creating holes in your brain.
Yep.
Ah,
Man. Okay.
take it away.
I think we can go through the different categories here now. Did anybody score really well? I mean, am I the only one? What the hell?
Oh no. I think the lowest was 15 or something. Even
Was it?
so,
Who's
it's a
15?
poor brain. You go scroll and see lah.
Okay, so I think we'll allow Nasreen to explain the good to very poor. I think most of us
Okay.
want to know.
So this is just lifestyle habits, okay, that you may be experiencing right now. It doesn't mean that it's a definite that you have a horrible brain. It's not. It just tells you that the lifestyle that you're living right now, how is it going to support your brain eventually? So if you have anything below 6, then it's all good. But then you have to know, hey, hang on a minute, am I doing everything right? So you think that you're sleeping 8 hours a day from 10 a.m. until, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You may get 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep, but it's not the right time. So, you gotta know what you're doing. Okay. You gotta know that if you're eating veggies, you're eating a variety. You're not just eating broccoli all the way through. Okay. So you gotta be smart here. Okay. Just be understanding and be honest with yourself. Okay. Then obviously from 7 to 12, it's moderately good. Okay. You can still work on certain areas to get yourself better. And obviously there's poor brain from 13 to 20, and anything beyond 20, it's not a dead end for you. Okay. It's not a dead end. There are many, many ways you can help yourself to get back your brain. If you look at all the slides earlier that was screened on Facebook, you can see that there's a rehabilitated brain of a guard who was 16 years as a night guard, and he slept only during the day, but he was up during the night, and he had a horrible looking brain. But eventually when he sorted himself out, his brain actually looked a lot better. Okay, so for you guys who are above 20, really, there's still a lot of hope if you decide to do something about it. If you choose to embrace this whole challenge for yourself, it is something really doable. And you don't do it on your own. Do it with the team, do it with the group, do it with your lecturer, pull your lecturer into the picture because I'm sure your lecturer would benefit from this too. So if you can see in this picture right here, it's a brain with some holes, but after supporting it, it actually got better. So depending on the severity of your brain and your lifestyle, you need to see where you can start shifting first. We're not asking you to do everything at the same time. We're not saying that you got to eat healthy and sleep well and exercise starting from now. It doesn't work that way. You're just going to give up after a week. So pick and choose the easiest battle for yourself. What is the most doable thing right now? Okay, and you can come together as a team with a few friends, and talk about this and identify an area that all of you can work together. So instead of eating out at the canteen or whatever, you can all start to think about bringing food to school. I mean, and sharing home cooked food, but just make sure your home cooked food is healthy. And so having a break in between classes and doing some coordination work that can help you re-energize yourselves and can help you get your attention back on track, and those would really help too. So the thing is, it's being smart at taking all these gaps in your life, in your everyday life. There will surely be a 5-minute time that you have like just chilling and not doing very much. But if you're aware of this quest that you're going to be on to rehab your brain, then you would always be you'll be constantly thinking of something that you can do to help yourself. So even if you're on the phone, instead of having it directly there, make sure that you have your hands-free kit. And then if you have a hands-free, you can literally stretch and work out while you're on the phone, and it's something that you just, if you want to do it, you can do it. And if you have a higher purpose now, think about what your higher purpose is. What's the point of finishing your studies or becoming the best designer, becoming the best leader, becoming the most, the well-known speaker out there, or but you compromise your health at the same time? It would be a waste of your time and energy to get there and then not live long enough to enjoy that position that you got yourself into, So it's all doable. It's not as easy, but it is not that difficult at the same time. You just have to know what you can do. So get your lecturers or get your teachers to have more sessions like this to help you guys step by step through it. That can be a start.
And remember the three things, right? Eat well, sleep well, and exercise, right?
Yeah, but you got to know what to do.
All right.
So it doesn't mean that exercise means go run, jog. No, you
Okay.
don't jog anymore. You should brisk walk. You should not do too much weights, but your body weight is just as good. You should eat like small meals a day, 5 small meals a day instead of 3 big meals. You shouldn't, you have to just know what to eat, when to eat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jinchi?
I think it's just like I think everything is there. We've got to practice it ourselves, So I think what we have learned today is sometimes we may think that, I know that, but it's more about really putting it into practice and having that mindfulness to do it. So thank you very much, Nasreen, and it's been a really, really insightful session for all of us here. And I would like to thank all of our participants today who have been with us and actively asking questions. We hope that you have understood some things better or have gotten a better understand view on things. And do make sure, for Taylor staff, do make sure that you register your attendance for today besides the HRSS one. Okay, and not forgetting everyone here, not just the staff, but everyone who's in our session today, to fill out the survey so that we know how we can make ourselves better. Thank you again, Nasreen, and I want to really, really thank my team, Charles, Vinod, and Vikram. You guys are great. Okay, and yes, we look forward to seeing everyone again in October, where we have another great speaker coming up. So look out for the announcement. Thank you again, Nasreen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nasreen.
Thanks, everyone.
That's
It's been great.
okay.